Welcome to the fastest daf in town. Today, I'm Masech the Ksuvas daf Mem Vav. We're going to begin on Mem Vav Amud Aleph, about 7 lines from the top, Tana Rabbanan. So the pasuk regarding the din of Motzi Shemra, a person who, as we're going to see, speaks improperly about his wife, saying that she has no besulim, she has tainis besulim. So he punished them mamoin. So on one hand, there's a chiyamamon. For Yisru zem malchus. So this is actually a situation that even though we typically say you don't get two punishments, but we have exeris akasav that the Motzi Shemra gets both mamoin and malchus. So bishlam of anshoy zem mamadich sevi anshoy semei kasef. B'nasul avi hanayra. So it says beferish, it's linking it to money. El v'yisru zem malchus benol. How do you know the word v'yisru is referring to malchus? Some rabavo umanu yisru mi yisru v'yisru meben mebin. And we know it's v'hoya im bin hakos harasha. So this pasuk is obviously talking about malchus. So therefore, that is how we know. So azhara l'moitzi shemra benol. How do we have an azhara anywhere in the Torah for? This is question 11. This is TB1. This is also the last question on the TC1. Rabbi Lezer Oimer Molisich Rachel. So just a general isser of being a talebearer. So this is not allowed. So Rashi says Rach Lazeh. For Rachel Lashon Rachli Tieh, that you're like speaking softly to me. Rav Nasan Oimer Mepnishmarti Michol Davara. You should guard yourself from any bad. Rabbi Lezer, my time Omer Mahai. So why doesn't he actually learn out from the pasuk of Nishmarti Michol Davara? Now Homa Boyle with Rav Pinchas ben Yair. Nishmarti Michol Davara. What do we learn out from this? Mekanam Rav Pinchas ben Yair Al Yahar Adam B'Yoyim V'Yavle Yedei Toma B'Layla. That just logically, if a person has improper thoughts during the day, then we know that that's going to end up causing a person to have tuma at night, because immediately afterwards Rashi says, it says Kiya b'chal ish v'gaimer. So it talks about a person who has these makshavos ra'is, which causes them to end up becoming in a state of tuma. Rav Nasan my tamul emer mahai. So who has harula based in shlihei rachel zeh v'kashel zeh. So again, the Rashi said that it's referring to they should be soft to one and harsh to the other. In other words, when it comes to a beis din, they should treat everyone equally and everyone fairly. Now, what happens if lo amar la'edim? What if the husband does not say to the witnesses, bo v'ha'iduni, go and testify on my behalf that she was mazana. However, v'hein me'idin oisim aleihen, these witnesses by themselves give this testimony. So the din is hu enu like of enu noisin mea salayim. So in this situation, because the man was not involved in this process, so therefore he's not going to be punished with malchus or having to pay. He v'zememeha makdim lebeis haskila. However, if let's say she's sentenced to death, so she and the plotting witnesses who claimed that she would be sentenced to death, they will go to the base of skill, which of course is impossible for that both to happen at the same time. Just if she's found guilty, then of course she's sent to the base of skila. If the first witnesses were found to be plotting witnesses, then they'll be sent to the base of skila, and not her. Now the reason why is because lo armulahu, the husband did not say this to the witnesses. Mashma ha armulahu, if let's say he did say to the witnesses, avagav deloi agrinhu, even if let's say he didn't bribe or pay the witnesses, is that enough to be mechayev? Motzi Shemra is not just to have the Baal proactively getting witnesses, but also paying them. So Lafukim Rabbi Yehuda Desanya, Rabbi Yehuda Omer Enochayev Ad Sheyiskor Edim. You actually have to pay for their services. My time Rabbi Yehuda Amar Ravo Asya Sima Sima Ksiv Hachavasam Lo Alilois Tavarim by Motzi Shemra Ksiv Hasam Lo Simul of Neshech. And when of course it comes to a bribe, malahol and mamoin avkam mamoin. So a bribe is with money. So too, Motzi Shemra is only with money. So according to this, it's not necessary. You can still be chayiv in that situation, even without a bribe, as long as the man engaged in somehow by initiating this conversation. Rav Nachman Rabbi Yitzchak Tani Rabbi Yosef Tzidaini be Rav Shimon ben Yoichai Asa Sima Sima. So he said again, there's this Gzer Shava. So by Rav Yirmiyah. So we said it's necessary, according to this opinion, that you actually have to hire the witnesses. What if Sacharan Bekarka? According to Yehuda, who says, again, you need, in order to be chayiv, you actually have to hire them. What if, let's say, says Rashi, Mahu Kivan Dimaribis Gamar Kasef, since it's learned out from Ribis, O ochel beinan, kesef o ochel beinan. It needs to be money or some food to have metaltalin, which we went out regarding ribis, or maybe it's even in karka. In other words, if let's say you pay the witnesses with karka, so does the gzer shav extend itself to even include karka, or is the gzer shava specifically mamoin or sometimes the davar metaltalin? So mahu b'pachas meshever pruta mahu. What if the amount you pay them is less than Sheva Pruta? Shnei b'pruta ma'av, if you pay them both, one pruta, which again, if you'd split it up, it would be a half pruta each, but at least you'd give mum in that case. Baravashi, haiti shemra al nasuin harishainim ma'u. Let's say a person gave out haiti shemra on his first nasuin. Says Rashi, Kansa, he married her, haiti shemra, but he didn't actually, was not haiti shemra on her right away. V'girsha, first he divorced her. V'chzira, then he remarried her. V'yachachach moitzi shemra. U'matzasi b'sulam nesuin kamoi. He says, the first time I married her, I didn't find b'sulam. So how does that, what's the din there? Furthermore, a nesuyi achiv mahu. What's the din if, let's say, it comes to yibum? Can the brothers make this claim? So pashmi achada. The Tani Rav Yoinam as beating the stati shazel zev lo yavam. So this din of moitzi shemer can only apply to the husband, but the yavam does not have the ability to be moitzi shemer, and if he does, he's not going. Won't be any chiyuvim. So my Rabban and my Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. So what exactly is this machlokus in greater length? The sanya keitzad hotza shemer. So what exactly is this case? Bola besin. So the husband comes to base and the yomer ploini lo matzasi levidcha b'sulim. He says, I did not find among your daughter to have time to have basulim. So I'm very upset about this. I married this woman under false pretenses. So which of course makes no sense. But if there's witnesses that she was mazana while she was engaged, so we're going to give her $100. That's which of course is not the case. Which the more is going to talk about that. So right, that, of course, is the case of skill. However, zinsim ikara. What if she was mazana, but it was before they were engaged? She was a panuya, so yeshul ksuba mana. In that case, shitaka will actually receive ksuba mana. Why? So this we had at the beginning of this masechta. Rashi says, "Ksaver kansa becheskes besul nimsas bulu yeshul ksuba mana. Nimsa sheshem ra eno shemra." Let's say his shemra is really not a shemra. So who like v'naisin man kasef v'sela? Because he was basically lying. He was caught in a lie, so he gets punished. He gets malchus and he has to pay this 100 sela. Bain boil, bain low boil. If he had bia, or even if he didn't have bia. In other words, how could he make this claim? Maybe his claim was that, oh yeah, there were witnesses that saw that she was boil. But I was never boil. I never had bia with her. So according to this, even if he didn't have bia, which we've had this before. So that's why it says it pretty explicitly. It says he had bia with her. It just means he came upon her with false accusations. With words. I did not find basulim. What is that talking about? He didn't have bia with her. What does it mean? That I could not find anyone who could validate her that in fact she was a basula, not that whether she was a basula. In other words, you couldn't have witnesses, right? It says, I couldn't find any witnesses to go against the other witnesses that she was Ba'ula to support that she was really Basula. Now, Bishlam, Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov, that she actually only when there was Bia first, because he's basically showing a cloth that there's no dam. Or Rabbanan Mai ve'elu Basuli Biti. Ve'ela Kishir Basuli Biti. Again, it's not referring to this cloth, it's just talking about witnesses to support that she would be a Basula. I didn't find that. Bishlam when Yaakov Hanadaseh Farsu Hasimla, he spreads out his cloth, which again is to discover if she has dam. El Rabbanan Mayu Farsu Hasimla, some Rabavo, Parsu Ma Shisam law, to clarify what took place. That's what it means. Kedesanyu. Ufarsu Hasimla Malama Shaboin Edim Shelzev Edim Shelzev. Witnesses come and they elaborate and get to the conclusion just like a nice clean new garment. No, it means it literally. Simla mamish is talking about an actual garment to be able to examine whether there was dam on it. Shalach Rav Yitzchak bar Rav Yankel bar Giori mishmei Rav Yochanan even though we don't find anywhere Shechil Kakasa ben Bia Kedarka Labia Shalo Kedarka Lamakais Ainshin. Even when it comes to Bia Shalo Kedarka, the same dinim are exactly the same. There's no chiluk when it comes to punishments. However, when it comes to Motzi Shemer, there is a difference. Eino Chayiv Ad Shiyiboil. You're not chayiv until, first of all, unlike the other opinion, just like the opinion of Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov, there had to be bia, but even shelo kedarka, v'yoytzi shemer kedarka. Kaman, who's that like? It says that even if it was shelo kedarka, the yoytzi shemer kedarka. So Ikar Rabbanan after have the loy boil. According to Rabbanan, who's the good is like? The Rabbanan say you don't even have to have bia at all. Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov, according to Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov, as we continue to memvav Amud Beis, Edi Kedarka Bi'inon. He's talking about that it needs to be, if it's Devarim Kichsavam, as he said, it's talking about it's only when there was actual bia. El Sholach Rav Kahana Mishmei Rav Yochanan Enu Chayiv Ad Sheyibel Kedarka V'Yoytzi Shemer Kedarka. Sorry, we do have to change it in order to fit like the sheet. He's only going to be chayiv if in fact he was boiled Kedarka, and he claims that he had to be a Kedarka, and that's how there should have been dam and there wasn't, and that's where the claim came about. Next Mishnah. Ha'av, this is a Gemara straight, this whole rest of the Amud is Masechtas Kedushin. Ha'av Zaken Bavitoi. So what does the father get when she's a katana or a naira? B'kedusha seha b'kesef l'shtar v'bia. He will receive the kesef, the money. Also shtar, says Rashi, Shim kibul shtar erisin aleha harizim kedushes. So if he was makabel the shtar erisin, it's a kedushin. Bia, what does that mean? So Rashi says Rashay l'mayisu l'bia l'shem kedushin. He could give her over l'shem bia. Zakim etziyasa. Also the father gets her findings. Uvamasiadel, and all the things that she, her work. And also he can annul her vows. And Mikabel's Gita, and also he will be Mikabel get. However, of course, this is before she reaches the age of Bagris. If she got divorced, for example, from Erison, and it was before Bagris. So let's say she was she was already 12 and a half, or she was fully married, then all of a sudden the father has no reshus on her. And Mikabel's Gita, ve'enu oichel peres b'chayeha. And he doesn't eat fruits in her lifetime. What does that mean? Says Rashi, let's say that she inherits this daughter property from her mother's estate. So the father is not allowed to eat these fruits. Rather, he has to do what's called a segula, which we'll see two answers in the Gemara exactly what he does with that. Nises, once she gets married, yes, baal. Now the husband is able to eat the fruits in his lifetime. Fine. And he is chayav to sustain her, and also upir kona. He also must redeem her. Ukvurasa, and he also has to take care of her burial arrangements. as we're going to see, the kfurasa is tachas ksubasa. It's because it's in place of the ksuba. It's there. Rabbi Yehuda Omer afil onish Yisrael, even if the poor person will yivchas mishechalilun umikoinenes. You have to at least have for the eulogy 2 flutes. That's what they used to play, and also someone to lament. Now, b'kesamanon, how do we know that the father is zeichet to the kesef kedushin? So Rabbi Yehuda Mara Omer Kran. This is going to be question 12. So ein kesef adam zeh v'yesh kesef adam acher mani u'av, that there's no monies, referring to an Amma of Riyah, a Jewish servant. It says that there's no money to this master. It says Rashi b'sei sam reshuso b'simoni nairis. Once she proves that she is, because one of the ways that a Amma of Riyah goes free, as Gemara in Kedushin discusses on the first parak, is when she shows simoni nairis. So at that point, she goes free, and therefore, when she goes free, in kesef adon zeh, the master doesn't get anything. However, when this girl leaves her father's rishos, then the father does get something. So therefore, that's the chiddush. Only v'yatzachinim in kesef l'adam zeh, v'yesh kesef l'adam acher, which is the father. Ve'ema l'dida. Well, maybe she keeps it. We know the father is able to make the kedushin. It says, as we talked about, Moitzi Shemra, he's the one who gives her over. So why would she be able to keep the money? It's hard to fathom. Maybe only when she's less than 12. When she's 12 and a half, between 12 and 12 and a half, when she's a boigeris, he does not have a yad. But maybe at least at this time, because she has a yad when she is a naira, so she should be able to keep it. Ihi tikadish nafsha, she can be mekadosh herself. Ihi tishkol kasba. So Merkab bin Nereh besaviha, kol shvach nurim liaviha. Any profits that she makes, everything goes to the father. How do we know that it goes to her father? When you sell your daughter as a servant, all of the actions of this servant go to the master. So we went out from this pasuk, that masiyadeh go to the father. So why don't we went out from the pasuk menor besavia? The reason why you can't is the pasuk menor besavia is only telling you that he has a right to be made for her nedarim. Why don't we say that since he can be made for her nedarim, which is a din of Isser, so maybe he should also be able to get her money. Why don't we not from kanas? Because we already learned in this parak, in prayer before, that the father is zoichet when in onis mafata that he receives the kanas. You can't compare mammon from kanas. There's two totally different dinim, as we said before. Why don't we have boishes begam? Because boishes begam is considered to be mammon. The father also is shaykh to it. And Rashi quotes, as we saw before, the mastaber. Why it's mastaber, the father should get the boishes begam, her embarrassment money. So Rashi says, "Biyada little mamoin will vaisha beboishes zeh will moiser bias kedusha l'mnubel mekushchen." So he has the ability to have been violated his daughter by doing boishes begam to his daughter by marrying her off to a repulsive man. So therefore, since he could have done that, which is boishes begam, so he should also be entitled to boishes begam here. El mastar b'dachim ma'id rachmana. So again, we're going to say we went out from kesef the asiyas adain, because dachim ma'id rachmana yitziyah de kavasa kamamayit. When it comes to yitziyah, it's something which is similar, which is the servant and the daughter. But what do you mean? They're not comparable. When it comes to the daughter, the woman, the Mavriya leaving, she's completely freed. Over here, it was only Erison, and she's still in the Rishos Ha'av, so she's not completely gone. However, because she's completely gone when it comes to Nafaris Nadarim, so therefore it's like it's comparable to an Adain in which she leaves him for something completely, really everything, so too when it focus on Havaras Nadarim, she leaves him completely. Once Erison took place, at that point the father doesn't have full rights, but rather it has to be given over. All the Havaras Nadarim is also with the husband to be. Shtar biyah menolan de'amar b'haisel ish acher to ishkes havoyis lahadadi. So it says Rashi, Ma keser b'rshus aviyah av kedushi shtar ubiyah biyad aviyah. So because we connect and compare Kesef to Shtar and Bia, so just like Kesef the father gets, so too Shtar and Bia the father gets. Question 12, and we'll stop. Maskana manom de Kesef kedusha and dener levia. V'yamayli yafina ben Rabbi Savia the chol shvach normal av. So I said, we learn this out v'yotzachim in Kesef in Kesef manom zeh b'tziyaso mirishuso b'simonim, which is by an amavriya of yesh Kesef adonacher b'tziyaso mirishus hamir kedushecha. But Rabbi Savia lekel male, if you can't learn out from there, these Havaras Nadarim and manim yisur lo yafina not kan.